This is our third year of hosting, and cell coverage out here is pretty much non-existent. Once in a while we'll get lucky and we'll pull a signal, but for the most part the only way we get signal is by putting our jetpack in a sandwich bag and putting it about 20 feet up that tree. Today that changes. Is a Wilson Destination RV cell signal booster. We bought it ourselves, so WeBoost did not send us this. We bought it after extensive research. Let's get this thing unboxed and we'll start the install, and then I'll tell you what I think about it, because I've got high hopes and no idea what to expect. While I'm opening this up, I'll tell you the reason I picked this particular one over some of the other ones. For one, a lot of the boosters that you see out there that claim to do 5G are actually illegal. The FCC has not licensed these companies to do wideband boosting. This is 5G capable, but it is not actually going to boost like band 71 or anything like that. It'll boost your multi-gigahertz 5G, but not your low band 5G. But it will do all the LTE bands, and for what we need out here at camp, that's fine. So in this box, we've got a whole bunch of little boxes. It says here outside antenna and mounting bracket. This is going to go up outside the camper. 30 feet of coax. Hardware, power supply, and inline filter or fuse holder. So this is going to be the 12 volt power supply. The inside antenna. The booster itself, along with an AC power supply. That might come in handy when we're in Michigan in another week or so. Some more coax for the inside power run. And wall mount brackets and ground mount brackets. Now what makes this different from a lot of the other boosters I looked at is it comes with a very high gain directional antenna, and this, if I can get it out of here without destroying it, get this box out of the way. This is it's a telescoping mast that extends to 25 feet tall. Secures to the side of the camper, and I can spin the directional antenna any direction I want. Now I happen to know that there's a cell tower about 8 miles that way, and as luck would have it, I believe that tower today is having problems, because on the way here I didn't get any cell service when I was a mile from it. There's also a cell tower about 16 miles that way, and one that has 2 gigahertz 5G about 18 miles that way. So I've got a couple of different towers I can point this thing at, and that's going to be the fun part, is seeing what will give us service. So I'm going to finish unboxing this, and then Caden's going to help me install it on the side of the camper. Okay, so the first thing you got to do is figure out where on your trailer you want this thing. Me personally, I picked right here for a couple of reasons. One, it's easy to get to. Two, WeBoost says what you should do is use the little included flat cable that I'll show you in a little bit and sneak it in through your slide. I have a sneakier idea. I'll show you in a minute. Over here are my cable and satellite lines. It just so happens they are 45 ohm coax, the same as this thing uses, and the satellite one runs right behind the TV where I want to put the amplifier. So instead of trying to sneak the coax through the slide, I'm going to attach there. As I said, I already cleaned this. I took some 409 here, one of my favorite cleaners in the world, and I just got all the dirt and grime off of this, because these, there's 2 of them, need to adhere to the camper. Now, one of the suggestions that I saw on the forums and in reviews of this thing that I've seen is they suggested instead of trying to put these on and then slide in, they said, why don't you just, right from the get-go, set them against the trailer. That way you can just, they're already locked where you want them, and you just have to hold it for a couple of minutes while it bonds. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the double-sided tape off. Caden is going to stay down here on the ground. I'm going to climb up, and him and I are going to push this thing against the side of the camper and hold it there for a couple of minutes. So I'm going to move the camera so you can see this. Maybe I'll fall off the camper and provide you with some amusement. And I'll be back to show you the next step in a minute. Alright, so you may notice that I already have the external antenna mounted. That's because I would rather do it on the ground than up in the sky. But it's time for Caden and I to get ready. We're going to peel off the back of that adhesive and then hold it against the camper. I'm going to be looking down to make sure it's level. He's going to be looking up and following the trim line of the camper because the camper is level. And in a couple of minutes, it will be mounted to the camper. Time to head up. Virginia, get a couple of the green tent poles, or tent stakes. All right. I got it. You can peel off. Alright, coax is hooked up. Now I just got to do the internal wiring and we can see what this thing does. Alright, time for the wiring part. First thing I'm going to do is get this dog bucket of water and dog food out of the way, and I'm going to open this cabinet because my plan is my satellite connection's back here and I can feed it up and behind the radio, and then back here mount the booster here and then run the wire from the booster back up and behind the TV. But first I need a power connection. I'm getting pretty good at pulling this radio out because there be power back here. And we'll pull all of this out so that we can get to our power wires again. And just like before, red is positive, white is negative. We'll probably splice in right here. But first, I need to make a hole so that this can come up and into the back. And these are the same depth, so I can take my drill, wherever I put it, there it is. And let's see here, what's my biggest bit in here? Let's try this. No, let's just go with the small hole saw. And the reason for that is I got to be able to get coax and power through there, and I'd rather have a bigger hole than a bunch of small ones. And I learned from last time. Keep it all in a baggie, then it can't get away. And just like before, we'll make use of the dust buster. Now I have plenty of room for all my wire. The other thing I want to drill a hole for is I want to put a toggle switch over here, and that's going to be to turn the booster on and off so that this brick here isn't always drawing power if I don't need the booster. Almost. Beautiful. Now I just got to clean it up because, of course, when you bore something out, you don't always get the cleanest drill. But we'll take our handy knife here and kind of clean this up. And then get our wiring in there so that we have room to work. I brought my spool of red wire in because I'm going to make a couple of jumpers. Ah, look at that. Almost like I had a clue what I was actually planning. And I'm going to flip this around so that when the switch is on, you can see that little bit of red. And it actually looks like it belongs there, so yay! Now we're going to take this little ring and put it on, which will let me tighten this whole thing down so that it doesn't go anywhere. Although it's tight enough in that hole, I don't think we need to worry about that. But we'll do the step anyways. Interesting little tidbit about this thing. It says home multi-room. This is actually their home line booster that they include built into this new Destination RV booster, which, now that I think about it, it's kind of entertaining. We're Destination Great Lakes, and we have a Destination RV booster. So this needs to feed through here in this hole I made back here so that I can connect it to outside antenna, because this is going to connect to the satellite line. And because I don't have satellite out here, it's not going to cause an issue. This piece is the indoor antenna. For now, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to mount it. I might mount it here, I might mount it here. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this line down behind the TV and down to the booster. And from there, I'll figure out how I want to mount it. So for now, we're going to slide this down here. I've got two thoughts about how I want to mount it. I'd like to cover the living area very well, and supposedly this is somewhat of a directional antenna. But I also want to hopefully cover the area under the awning. In which case, I need it on that wall to my left by the slide. So it's a question of, if I turn it, will I get sufficient coverage in the camper? And if I don't turn it, will I get sufficient coverage underneath the awning? Because if I can get it to where I have decent coverage under the awning, if this thing doesn't use too much electricity, I'll actually leave it turned on when I'm gone and just leave a little note for my guests that they're free to stand under the awning and make use of the booster, because this is an all-carrier booster. So I'm connecting the internal antenna now. And then I'm going to take these little peel and sticks off so that I can attach this end to the inside of the cabinet. this up a little bit just for now, and I'll make it look neat in a little bit, but first I want to make sure that this thing actually works before I get too carried away. Oh, and in case you're wondering, I don't know this for sure. Rumor has it the actual amplifier itself does get somewhat hot. Well, we have a light. That's a good sign. I'm going to have to look at the manual because it's red right now. And as I recall, that means it's something. I got to look at the manual and remember what that means. So I'll be back in a minute. We may have to make some adjustments. So I went outside to dig the manual out, and the light turned green. So, in theory, that means it's working, and now I just gotta dial in the aiming. So I'm gonna put the radio back together because that's the end of it, and then you'll see a montage of me figuring out where I need to aim the thing in order to get a good signal. There it is, 25 feet in the air, and it works. I've got a green light. Inside I've got usable signal. I've got it aimed so that I've got usable signal outside the awning. It's fantastic. Never mind the kids playing. They're happy that they have cell service. So we'll put this thing through its paces next week when we're in Michigan, and we'll report back on what we think of it in a future video. Until then, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me everything I did wrong. Tell me what you would have done differently. If you've had experience with these and have some tricks to make them even more efficient, let me know. Until then, we'll see you at our next destination. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and stay safe. Bye-bye.